New tonight, NBC News is taking a deep dive into the historic fraud happening during this pandemic, including the theft of billions of taxpayer dollars meant for out-of-work Americans. More than $200 billion worth of fraud has been committed in 4 states alone, including $10 billion in Georgia. Here with us this evening to discuss the impact of pandemic-related identity fraud in our state is the CEO and founder of ID.me, Blake Hall. Thanks for being with us. Blake, online identity theft has become a systemic challenge for America's security. So how have these fraudsters exploited the pandemic-related aid specifically here in Georgia?
Sure, Jennifer. Government stats show that identity theft tied to government benefits fraud has increased by nearly 3,000% year over year, to the point where it's an existential threat to our national and economic security. The way that they attack is really quite simple. You had about $1 trillion of unemployment benefits that were on the line. And with this new program called Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, you could self-assert that you were a gig economy worker like Lyft or Uber. And so when you think about what criminals have, the Chinese military stole the Equifax database in 2017. So they have about 150 million Americans' name, dates of birth, social. Just on the dark web in general, due to all the data breaches, you can buy a name, date of birth, and social for $2. And so for $2 to fill out a form and to self-assert that you were a gig economy worker, you could turn that identity into a $600 or $700 weekly payment. And for every 50,000 fraudulent claims, it equals about $1 billion in loss over a 6-month time span. And that was just an opportunity that was too wide open for any fraudster to ignore, and they flocked to it.
Blake, so what is your company doing specifically that has helped to fight this type of fraud?
Sure. So the thing that we did in Georgia specifically is we helped them follow the federal government's guidelines for identity verification and for login. And so state by state, when we went into Arizona, we reduced their weekly claims from 570,000 per week down to less than 7,000. The same was true in multiple other states, California, New York, Florida. And in Georgia, they've credited us with preventing $10 billion in fraudulent claims. So when you think about the historic demand, Georgia paid out in 15 months more than they've paid out in the combined 80 years prior to that. And what we did is made sure that the digital channel was secure so that they could deliver those funds and also make sure that legitimate claimants weren't mixed up with criminals.
All right, Blake, thank you so much for that information. Tonight on Nightly News, the Fleecing of America series continues as Lester Holt sits down with the Deputy U.S. Attorney General in charge of prosecuting this pandemic fraud. That's for you right here on 11 Alive at 6:30.